did you think? So this was something interesting that just came out of Iowa with one of the things that was in the exit polls or entrance polls, and those are not terribly reliable, but it was something like 31% of the primary voters said that they would not vote for him if he was convicted of a crime. Do you believe that?
I believe that there are. Here's my theory, and I don't know why I'm telling you this, because you're the one who actually conducts focus groups and talks to voters, unlike I do not. But I do think there are going to be, broadly speaking, there are going to be people who are never going to believe anything bad that's said about Donald Trump, even if they're shown video of it. They will say it's a deep fake or something. And then there are people who don't like the Democrats, want to vote for a Republican, and but are exhausted by Trump and embarrassed by Trump. And I do think that those people can be moved more so than in 2020, because I just think it's incumbent upon all of us to really, really hammer at him in a way I don't think happened even in 2020. I think 2020 it was sort of easier because he was president. I think now his big advantage is that he's been off everyone's radar screens. This deplatforming of him has made him more of an abstraction. Like, you forget how bad he is, and then you worry about things. You worry about things that are not really as significant as having a sociopath in charge of the second largest nuclear arsenal on the planet. So that's going to be the important thing is for us, every single one of us, including people who are listening. You've got to engage people and tell them what you think and tell them why this is bad. And I think there's another potential effect. And again, I defer to you. Maybe this is fantasy on my part, but I do think that the more this happens, the more it demoralizes even the fanatics. And my one data point on this, the one data point is turnout, although that could have been due to the weather in Iowa. But there was also an interesting report that was leaked. It was a report prepared by Club for Growth. You may have read it or seen it, but they had focus group tested a bunch of negative ads about Trump. And they found two things. The first thing was it didn't affect people's willingness to say they were going to vote for Trump. They basically showed all the bad things about Trump. And people said, well, I still support him. But they found that it dampened their enthusiasm. And I think the people who support him are exhausted too. And I think at the end of the day, what we're going to see, assuming nothing bad happens to Joe Biden, and the Democrats do what they should be doing, and God knows they have the money to do it. The turnout is going to be huge for people who don't want to see Trump again, and it's not going to be so great for the people who are just trying to stick by him, because deep down a lot of them know better, and also they're just exhausted. And that's why I think at the end of the day, I'm hopeful that we will not all end up in Guantanamo.
Yeah, I want to underscore something you said there. I was just talking about this with a reporter, and it is this idea of right now, Joe Biden is front and center for people. I hear this in the focus groups all the time, right? So they know what they're annoyed about with Joe Biden. They're frustrated with the economy. I heard this in 2022 from swing voters going into the election as well. They were mad about Joe Biden, whatever. But then when you said, okay, well, then who are you going to vote for, Blake Masters or Mark Kelly? They were like, I'm not going to vote for that psychopath Blake Masters. He's crazy on abortion. He thinks the election was stolen, and he likes the Unabomber. Like, I'm not going to vote for him. And I think I think we're at a low watermark for Joe Biden and a high watermark for Trump, because he's about to sort of get a coronation in this nomination. But then I think once that contrast becomes clear, because something else that's clear in the groups is that people don't know yet that it's Biden versus Trump. They just have not grasped it.
They don't believe it. They haven't focused.
Clear.
Yeah. And I still second that to you, and I'll use even bigger data points. In 2016, Hillary was ahead until Hillary became the issue. And one of the things that happened when they, got rid of Manafort and put in my ex-wife and so on in the fall was they started making the campaign about Hillary. And that's why she lost. In 2020, he lost because the election was about him. He was the incumbent. In 2024, it's going to become about him again, even though he's not the incumbent, because all of us are going to make it about him, and he can't help but make it about himself.
I think that's 100% right. And I think that also underscore your part about we're all going to have to do this job. It's one of the reasons we need to make sure people understand what's happening in these court cases.